Great,
Glad to
great.
be here, spending some time with you.
Yes, I think it's a great day for a conversation.
Absolutely.
And I've been excited about this because, you're one of our 2023 Questy Award winners. You won a Golden Crown in the multi-agent agency category,
Mhm.
and that's pretty exciting. Um, and I also want to mention that the name of your agency is Group Trip Designers,
Correct.
and that you are a blue diamond in our gym uh, award categories. So
Yeah.
you're just doing great. And
Relative.
you've got an anniversary coming up. You joined Travel Quest in December. It was December 19th, 2011.
Yeah, I have been around a few years.
12 years. Wow. So you were there in the beginning with Bonnie and Walt.
Absolutely. Yeah, I remember the first time I met Bonnie and the first time I met Walt, two different occasions, but yes, and going to some of those early Travel Quest meetings. And yeah, Bonnie actually was a guest speaker at a travel academy where I was working at the time when I first met
Oh,
Bonnie.
wow.
Hmm.
Well,
Hmm.
things were a bit different then. There's been a lot of changes.
Yeah.
Some of them not as good, but most of the change I think has been for the good.
Hmm.
So tell me, first of all, how many agents do you have in your business?
Right. Okay. So, yep, I have five
Wow.
that are signed up as sub agents.
Mhm.
Four of them are like completely um, they run their own businesses.
Oh.
One is an employee.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay. I did
Hmm.
not know
Yeah.
that. Okay. And
Yeah.
when they came on board with you, were they already a trained travel advisor?
No, they were not. They probably had what a lot of us had was a passion and a love of travel,
Mhm.
and but none of them had any working experience in the travel industry. So just yeah, no previous background in
Yeah.
travel sales, working as a travel
So
advisor.
you had to start then from right from the beginning, training them and teaching them the business and
Hmm. Kind of like I did for myself, because when I started as a travel advisor, I my background in the travel industry came from working for an airline.
oh,
And
okay. Which airline?
I was a flight attendant for Northwest Airlines for
Oh,
16
oh my
years.
gosh. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, before the merger with Delta Airlines,
Mhm.
and then I was a instructor. I trained flight attendants,
Mhm.
and then I worked for a few years at a trade school called the Travel Academy
Mhm.
in the Twin Cities metro area of Minneapolis, St. Paul,
Mhm.
and that's I was teaching the curriculum that was all about airline. Um, and then my coworker was a teaching the travel agent, travel advisor curriculum, and he was the one who really brought me on board.
Mhm.
He was working with Travel Quest besides teaching.
Oh, okay. So he kind of
Yes,
introduced you to Travel Quest, and well, that's great.
yes,
And
yeah,
I
yep,
know, working so many years in the airline industry, you've probably seen it all.
yeah, 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 definitely. And yeah, I started in 1991, 92.
Uh-huh.
Um, fun stories when you even talk to people in the industry in the 70s and
Yeah.
80s, 60s.
Yes.
Yeah, fun stories
Oh,
to tell
yes.
people.
Yes. I remember those early years when I was in the business, we all dressed up in our best clothing to go on our
Absolutely.
flights. And
Hmm.
you'd present yourself at the gate looking so good, hoping they would choose you to upgrade.
You're just happy to get on an airplane if you
Yeah,
were flying somewhere. Yeah.
right. right.
Yep, definitely had some strict dress codes.
Yes, that's true. I remember that. I remember one time, I was with a family group and I had a long, jean skirt on, and they're like, "No, you're not coming on board with that jean skirt." And I
Mhm.
had to pull another skirt out of my I had another skirt in my bag, my carry-on, and
Oh, wow.
change right there in the airport.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so, yeah, different
yeah.
times, but fun. I
Yeah,
miss those times.
right. So with some of that training, when I did, well, bring, my own training as well as when some of the sub agents started, um, what, sometimes I would just have them come sit in my office and sit right next to me and just watch and learn,
Yes.
observe, learn.
That's
And
a great way to learn. I used to train that way also, and
mhm.
really, it's really hands on.
hmm
Yeah.
And and some just took it upon themselves to do some of the training, the wonderful training that's provided either through our suppliers, Travel Quest, some training. Yeah, so just a variety, attending conferences, but there's so much training available.
Mhm.
I also I guess my philosophy is also to kind of jump in. The best way to learn is when you're actually working on real trips
Right.
and just take it slow. And, instead of doing all this training and then not remembering it,
Right.
then when just start,
Mhm.
let's start booking travel and we're going to learn as we go. We don't have to,
Yes. Yeah.
that's the best training.
I agree. Is there a certain, destination or supplier or trip type that you start them out with?
I really look at it as if they're signing up as a sub agent and it's their own business,
Mhm. Mhm.
it's really up to them. I don't want to dictate
Oh,
and tell them what they should and shouldn't do.
okay.
So they're very much independent. I don't treat them like an employee. Now I do have, as I said, I have an employee,
Yeah.
um, and so I would say most of the subagents have started with all inclusive vacations with
Mhm.
a package through
Mhm.
Fun Jet Vacations, Delta Vacations.
Mhm.
That is probably really when I think about what most of them
Mhm.
have started with. I have an agent, Christina, who specializes now in Disney.
Oh,
I
okay.
first showed her, sat down with a meeting with customers
Mhm.
and how we, go about helping somebody plan a magical Disney vacation. And she really now specializes in that and parks. And so now when I do receive a request for Disney, Universal, anything like that, I just hand it off to her. She's the expert and she really, really enjoys that kind of work. So, and then I do more group travel and,
Mhm.
some of the agents like doing group travel and some don't. So, um,
Mhm.
yeah, but I would say most
I
of
was
yeah, packaged vacations.
I was gonna ask you about that because the name of your agency is Group Trip Designers, but you
Mhm.
obviously don't sell just group travel.
No.
Uh, yeah, so do you have people that contact you and say, "Hey, can I don't wanna go to a group with a group, but can you help me?" I mean, do you
Yes,
yeah.
they do. And
Mhm.
I'll tell you, I think finding a name for your travel business is one of the biggest struggles. And I started in, 2011 there, and there was probably a lot of domain names available then,
Mhm.
although it was a struggle even then.
Right.
And then it's only become more difficult to find.
Mhm.
I've always told everybody I've never loved the name of my business. I'm still not in love with it. Somebody, I'd change it in a heartbeat, but I did want to really focus on groups. And
Yes.
so then, yeah, people will definitely ask me. They're not afraid to ask, hey, well, do you do
Mhm.
honeymoons also? Absolutely. Do I do just two
Mhm.
people? Yeah. So,
I looked at your website, and once you're in your website, looking around, it's very obvious that you don't just sell groups.
Right.
I love, there was a section called travel inspiration.
Okay.
I love that section. You can get in there and spend a lot of time, kind of lose yourself.
Right. And the travel leaders, that agent profile really,
Mhm.
um, lets us tell the world what kind of travel we do.
Mhm.
And I definitely I need to get my last few trips in there. I haven't even done that. I've been to French Polynesian Islands, did a trip to
Oh,
Switzerland, and I haven't updated my agent profile, but on
mhm.
that list to do.
Were those group trips or were those an individual?
The trip last December, just my husband and I went, we flew over to Tahiti and we did Bora Bora. Well, we did 4 different islands in the French
Nice.
Polynesian.
Mhm.
So that was just the two of us, which is kind of unusual. We rarely take a trip where it's just the two of us. It was really nice. And now, boy, I can tell people and really help people with that type of trip. And then the trip this summer was to Germany and Switzerland, and that was my husband and I, my 3 children, and they're 17, 22, 23, and
Mhm.
my son's girlfriend. So there was 6 of us, a family trip.
Wow.
Yeah.
Small group.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and that you learn a lot when you arrange a trip, especially international, when you've got that many people, just 6 people traveling together, that can create some planning logistics problems, trying to get enough space and rooms and
Yes.
so yes.
Right. So like 6 was a very nice number to do an independent type of traveling in Europe, like getting
Mhm.
on trains. Because and then when I have done other group travel in Europe, I have used tour operators like Insight Vacations when we did a 14-day Croatia trip. And
Mhm.
my another subagent, Jackie, she's definitely focuses a lot on the fully escorted tours, Globus or Trafalgar and so forth
Yes.
for group travel. So they make it really easy for set up
Yes.
groups.
Yes, they do. I love both of those suppliers, and I recently learned what a great department, a custom department that Globus has. They'll
Yes.
put together custom group itineraries, and
Hmm.
we have some members doing that, and they've had a lot of success. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Good.
that's
Yeah.
great. So I was looking at all the groups and the destinations. Is there any one favorite group destination that you like to plan and take people on?
Well, I will say over the years, the bread and butter has been destination weddings.
Oh,
So
okay.
I do usually each year, several
Mm, mhm.
destination wedding groups.
Oh, okay.
So experience with that. Some
Mhm,
contracted
mhm,
groups, some non-contracted destination wedding
mhm,
groups. Various places, everywhere from Ireland, Costa Rica, of
mhm,
course, Caribbean and Mexico. Um, I've got a big group going on a Viking River cruise in the spring. So yeah, I guess to answer where I'm sorry, was that the question where I like to focus with
well,
people?
just where and even the kind of group.
Mhm.
So you do how many destination weddings would you do in one year?
Probably at the most I've ever done in one year. Well, I'll say like in the winter months, January, February, March.
Uh-huh.
Well, April's still kind of winter in Minnesota.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Um, I've probably had in those months up to like 4 or 5, and then
Oh my gosh.
maybe 1 or 2 in the fall, like a November or December. And like last winter, I had 4 very large groups. I had one in January and three all in the month of February. And
Wow.
luckily, some my sub agent, but really employee, Kate,
Mhm,
was an immense help in the
mhm,
summer before they traveled. I
mhm.
couldn't have done it, without having some great help.
I admire you because the largest number of destination wedding I ever did in 1 year were 2,
Okay.
and I was frazzled.
Yeah.
In my opinion, those are some of the, those groups take a lot of, hands-on, personal touch and maintenance and a
Mhm.
lot of communication.
Yeah, and a lot of organization. Lots.
Yes.
I use a lot of spreadsheets.
Yeah.
Spreadsheets and reminders in bright red in my calendars. Yeah.
So
Um,
how did you learn to operate? You're very successful. How did you learn that?
so when I started, um, so first my family, I'm the youngest of 12 children,
Mhm,
and we have an Irish background.
mhm,
So my family in 2011 wanted to, well, travel to Ireland, and we did. And
mhm,
that was kind of right as I was not really a travel advisor yet.
mhm.
And so I didn't do all of that work, but with my family, we put it together. I was working at the Travel Academy. And then after that, we had so much fun. One of my nephews, who was on that family trip in Ireland, he got engaged and they decided to have a destination wedding. And so, literally, one of the first trips and things I ever worked on
Mhm.
was a destination wedding.
Wow.
And I think I was told travelers,
Mhm.
um, maybe because I grew up before Google.
Yeah.
I said, don't be afraid to ask questions, instead of walking around in circles, when you're in Italy or wherever. Don't be afraid to ask questions when you travel. And
Mhm.
so when I was a new advisor, I started, I remember that first destination wedding group, I did it through Apple
Oh,
Vacations.
okay.
And I had a wonderful person in the group department
Mhm.
at Apple. And I was very upfront with her. I said, I am new to this side of the industry. I said, I've been working in the travel industry for about 20 years,
Yes.
but I'm completely new to selling travel. And I'm jumping in with a large group of about 60 people.
Wow, that was a large group.
Yeah. And so I just told her, and she was very patient with me. And I asked a lot of questions,
Mhm.
and it turned out fabulous. Everybody loved the resort, and it was a great experience. I learned, this resort and what the complimentary, the perks were that the group got, the bride and groom and the group got. And I just
Mm.
asked so many questions. When it was all said and done, I sent her a bouquet of flowers because I was so grateful that I had found somebody very patient
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
helpful, and so I just ask a lot of questions.
That is good advice because if you sit there wondering and not asking, you could really be missing something that's extremely important to the group.
Yeah, and I tell the sub agents and people that work with me, I say again, don't be afraid to ask questions.
Mhm.
And likewise, you might be asking questions, and there's somebody on the other end, whether you're talking to a cruise line or a tour operator, they're even more new than you. So
True.
yeah, and I said, so, and if it doesn't sound right, it's okay to question it and get to the bottom of it. So,
Yes. During these years that you've handled these destination weddings, have you ever had an instance where the bride or the groom called and said, "Well, it's off. We're breaking up." Have you ever?
not, no, no, mm-mm. I have not.
I had it happen one time, and it was on a Friday, and I went, "Oh, okay," and they said, "Cancel everything," and I'm like, "Okay." I didn't do anything. I just thought,
Oh,
"I'm gonna wait a while." So then the next week, the next Monday, the bride called. "Well, we made up. We need to get our space back," and I'm like, "No problem."
good thing you didn't cancel. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I've had definitely some people traveling, to a destination wedding, like a couple that and kind of have that situation. But actually, last year I had that where she called up and said, "Just cancel this,"
Mhm.
and then I waited, and by about a week later, they were back together and they went on a trip. I don't know if they're still together or not, but yeah. And
Yeah.
I've worked with couples who really thought they wanted to have a destination wedding, and we went through the process, and I remember early on putting a lot of time into it, and then they sat down, and I don't know if they had a conversation with their parents or family members, and they came back and they said, "We're sorry, we've decided to have a local wedding."
Mhm.
And those experiences you can look at and be frustrated for all the time. But I was fairly new advisor at that time, and I just said, you know what, I'm chalking that all up to training. That was I
Yes.
I
Good idea.
learned about the destination. I learned about that resort. I learned
Mhm.
about their wedding packages and their comps, and I I'm just going to chalk that up to experience or to training.
That's, and you know, it doesn't hurt to do that training because you'll be ready the next time.
Mhm. Yep.
Well, with that couple, did they at least let you do their honeymoon?
I don't know that I did do their honeymoon.
Mm.
And it was no hard feelings or anything. They just decided not to have a destination wedding after we had gotten we had not contracted or no deposits were put down yet. So, yeah.
Well, and this is a question that I get from members a lot. What supplier would you recommend for a destination wedding or the hotel? Is there one that you love working with?
There are, and that's something I will sit down and talk to a bride and groom about. And I said, now there are some resorts
Mhm.
that are going to thank you with a fruit basket in your room for bringing 60 people to 100 there. And then there are some that are going to give you complimentary rooms or complimentary people. And I said, and that can be in the thousands of dollars. I said, so that's my job is to kind of help you um, find, of course, the right resort for your dream wedding. But let me also tell you about some of the perks that come with groups. And so that's where I really think, I can be of a service, guiding
Mhm.
them. Over the years, I have used, well, what was AM Resorts a lot for my destination weddings, now part of the Hyatt Inclusive.
Mhm.
Um, Ryu Resorts
Yes.
work well for groups, and I like the that you earn a free person along the way.
Mhm. Mhm.
Let's see, those two right away come. Oh, in the Dominican Republic, I've definitely used the Majestic Resorts, Majestic Elegance,
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
um, and there's been others, but those are some that definitely come to my
Yeah.
mind. And mainly for my groups, I've used over the years. Well, it was Apple and FunJet, so ALG.
ALG. Mhm. I have to. I love working with them.
And they've really made some great improvements in their just for payments and sending a payment link to customers or just
Mhm.
their group page.
Yes.
And Delta Vacations, and they've made a lot of improvements. I've used here out of the Minneapolis market, Sun Country's group department,
Uh-huh.
and I've used GoGo Vacations also.
Okay.
So I've kind of sampled, uh, you know, seen
Yeah.
what works best and
Mhm.
what
Mhm.
doesn't, and yeah.
Well, that's great. Well, Peggy, I have really enjoyed our conversation today, and you have given some good advice to new members. That's
Great.
one reason that we decided to do these because we have so many new people, and it
Mhm.
helps to hear from those that have been in the business that are very successful, like yourself, and can share some advice and information. So,
Well, I'm glad to give back, and I've sat next to many other travel advisors and learned some valuable information. And all of you at Travel Quest are doing a fabulous job
mhm.
providing some great tools for us and some great training. So, and the recognition and putting on these fabulous events. So, thank you for everything that you guys are doing for all of us to support our businesses.
Well, that's great. Well, we appreciate you.
All right.
All
Thank you.
right. Well, you have a rest of your day. Have a great day.
You too.
All right. Bye.
Bye.